Hello everybody and welcome to another video here on Philly Sports Network, where today we're bringing you something a little bit different. I wanted to go through the 8 games that we've seen, unfortunately, so far and try and grade this team. Like, where are we actually at the midway point of the season? We know the Eagles at 3-4-1 are at the top of the NFC East somehow, some way, which is great. The problem is that the team has been so up and down, so inconsistent, that I want to find as many positives as I can and try and clarify a few of the negatives. So what I've done is give each position group a grade from A+ to about F-. I think that's how it works in America. And we're just going to see what you guys think. I want to hear your grades down in the comments below. And the first comment I'm going to see is about the hat. Liam, why are you wearing a beanie indoors? Okay, A, it's an Eagles beanie. B, it's very, very comfy and it's very, very cold outside. And C, England's just gone back into lockdown and I didn't get my hair cut, which means for the next month it is going to be man bun city all over again. So it's this or the bun, boys, alright? You get to choose. Make sure as well you're joining our Flick Sports group chat. Our Eagles group chat has nearly 500 fans. It's only been going a few weeks. 500 of you in there now, nearly, chatting about the Eagles, making friends, discussing the latest news, playing in fantasy competitions, winning giveaways and stuff. It's a great vibe in there. Make sure you download it. There is a link in the description and it is free to do so. And of course, phillysportsnetwork.com for the latest on all things Philly sports, because why not? You know, just support the boys. It's a tough time. All right, let's start with the face of the franchise, Carson Wentz. I think it's safe to say he has been utterly dreadful so far, and no matter what metric you look at, he typically ranks toward the bottom of the league. He leads in interceptions. He's got 4.5 yards per pass. Ridiculous fumbles, like the completion percentage isn't there, and it is just staggering to see such a downfall. Like, if Carson Wentz had a good line, would he have been sacked more times than any other quarterback? No, but would he have still made terrible decisions? Probably. You can't criticize Carson Wentz without being called a hater. It's either you have to do or die, be deluded and love nothing but Carson Wentz, or you're a hater because you're objective, and I don't think that's right. Like, admittedly, Carson Wentz has not had a very easy go of it. He lost all of his starting weapons, Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, all of the receivers, all of the offensive line. It's not exactly brilliant down there, okay? But I think even if he did have an offensive line, and he did have Miles Sanders, and he did have Zach Ertz, who was doing nothing anyway, it doesn't make up for the mechanical side of quarterbacking and the processing where he's throwing into double coverage and the recklessness with the ball in his hands where when he's going to the ground, he's just throwing it for fun. Like, it doesn't override that. He could be on any team in the NFL, and sure, those stats may look better and the drops from John Hightower might have been touchdowns, but realistically, would he be a top 10 quarterback? No. And that's absolutely fair to say. Carson Wentz has been bad. I think he's a good quarterback. But if around 15 other quarterbacks in the NFL did what Carson Wentz did against the Cowboys, I bet they... And I'm hoping that after a bye week, the coaching staff can get into him, they can take a break, they can review everything, try and work out why he's making these decisions, why he's so inaccurate on the deep ball, why he can't throw screen passes, why he's fumbling so much, which is a trend followed him from North Dakota State right to this point, and get Carson Wentz right. Because as Carson Wentz goes, the Philadelphia Eagles go. And right now, they're only going to destination train wrecks. So my first grade of the video is an E. Alright, it's not good enough, boy. Is that upside down? Alright, on to the running backs. Now, this is a bit of a trickier one to judge because the group's still somehow averaging 118 rushing yards per game, and have averaged 136 in their last 3, even without Miles Sanders. Now, yes, Carson Wentz is accounting for a chunk of that, and we've got to be really kind of aware here that the offensive line has been dismal. So the offensive line have really struggled outside of Jason Kelce in getting to the second level and sustaining blocks. Typically, the younger players, we've seen it from Lato prior before he was injured. So there's only so much that the Eagles running backs can do. And it also doesn't help when you're in a position where you're either winning the game or you're a score behind or you're level and you're rushing for 6 yards a carry like Boston Scott was doing the other night, and then he doesn't touch the ball for like 3 drives. Boston Scott showed his versatility. He caught an amazing pass from Carson Wentz, one of the flashes we've seen this season against the Giants. And when in open space, they can make plays. Corey Clement's been disappointing, but Boston Scott has stepped up. I don't know what Jason Huntley's doing. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why they didn't promote Elijah Holyfield to begin with. But I don't think it's fair to be too critical here on the running back because they're working behind a poor offensive line, a quarterback that's missing them, and they're not starters. They're rotational guys. Like Miles Sanders is the workhorse now. Gonna give them a C. Is it upside down? I don't know. We're gonna, just in case it is. Tight end. This one's a pain in the ass because Zach Ertz, who was supposed to be going into a big year. He's seen Kittle, he's seen Kelsey get paid. He was going to make his money this year and prove to Howie Roseman he was an idiot for letting him play another year cheaper, and now he's going to have to pay through the roof just to keep Ertz happy. That hasn't happened, and Ertz has looked dejected, dissociated, just downright bad at times. I mean, for context, okay, like, let's just put this into context. He had 178 yards on 24 catches, okay? Richard Rodgers has 184 on 15. Richard Rodgers has had a better year than Zach Ertz. He was the third tight end at the start of the year. Now, Rodgers has really stepped up in the absence of Zach Ertz recently, in the absence of Dallas Goedert. He's been a real go-to guy, and I love that for him. Been brilliant. Should never get to that point, though. And then you've got Dallas Goedert, who started great, then got taken out due to injury, comes back and gets targeted once. That's on the coaching staff and the quarterback. That's not good enough, but it's also not their problem. Overall, and let's not forget Jason Kroom, 100% touchdown rate in the NFL, all right? Best touchdown rate in NFL history. Jason Kroom, 1 for 1, undefeated. There's an ESPN documentary coming tomorrow. So, I'm going to give him a D. I still don't know if this is upside down or not, so we're just going to pretend, again, which way it is. Offensive line. Okay, so far we have seen a rise of Jordan Mailata, which was a very pleasant surprise, but downfalls everywhere else, right? We've seen Carson Wentz get sacked more than any other quarterback in the NFL. We've seen a total lackluster running game because of the poor play. Jason Kelsey is the glue keeping that group together. He's having a really great year under the radar, but the rest of the players, well, they're third and fourth string guys. Like, I don't know what more we can expect from them. They're doing as well as they possibly can. Mailata had never played a competitive snap of regular season football until this year. Jack Driscoll was a rookie. Matt Pryor was a backup at a swing who got moved around when Peters came back. Jason Peters exists. Now, it is deeply upsetting that the offensive line has fallen apart the way it has, but ultimately, they're going to give it a D. Wide receiver, and who saw this coming? From week 4, when Travis Fulgham entered the NFL, leads the NFL in receiving yards. Deshaun Jackson, it just wasn't working second time round, is it? It's like you've given it another shot. It just clearly isn't working out, boys. We might have to just cut the cord on that one. Alshon Jeffrey being on the roster infuriates me to no end. I don't know why he's there. Like, why is he there? Why has he occupied a spot for 8 weeks? And then seeing the Eagles have to part ways with guys like Casey Tuhill, with guys like Noah Togai, knowing they could have brought in another cornerback. But the receivers that have been active, Greg Ward has shown a very high ceiling as someone that will stick around the NFL as a long-term slot receiver. I love that for him. He's been reliable as always. Fulgham has been an overnight sensation that has stood the test of time. He's proven he's not a fluke. He's getting better every week. John Hightower, 5th round pick. 5th round pick for a reason. Has made a couple of big catches, made a couple of big drops. But overall, considering the circumstances, knowing that Jalen Reagor, who caught his first touchdown against the Cowboys, knowing that he had missed a lot of time, knowing that there was no Alshon, there was no D-Jax, I'm giving him a B- here. Although that does look like a bum, which does sum up Alshon. On to the defense, and the defensive line is absolutely killing it this season. Second in the NFL in sacks through 8 weeks, and in my opinion, the 2 biggest performers on the entire team being Brandon Graham and Malik Jackson. Graham, surely this is the year he makes a Pro Bowl. Surely this is the year he gets double-digit sacks. And as for Malik Jackson, he's doing what Javon Hargrave can't, and he's making up for lost time, and he's proving himself as a valuable weapon. And if you don't believe me, in 2018 for the Jaguars, the guy had 12 quarterback hits. He's got 11 in 5 starts in 2020. Elsewhere, Josh Sweat is absolutely thriving. He's taken a very, very clear step forward in his development, unlike Derek Barnett. Now, Josh Sweat, I think, is the eventual heir to that throne. I can't see the Eagles staying with Barnett, who has flashed an inside spin move and is still young, but isn't worth upwards of $10 million on a 5th-year option, in my opinion. So they've missed the opportunity to trade him. Yes, he's on 3.5 sacks, but I've been underwhelmed by him. I want to see more from Josh Sweat than I want to see of Derek Barnett. And that's the way of the world. And Josh Sweat is cheaper, and I think he's got a higher upside. Now, elsewhere at defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave got given a 3-year deal worth $39 million, and he should have been given a 39-year deal worth $3 million. And even that, average in a year, is still probably too much. He's been really bad. He's been invisible. And I understand his role may not be a typical defensive tackle. And he wants to swallow guys up and allow the other boys around him to thrive. And you can argue that that's been the case. But he's facing less double teams than Malik Jackson. And Jackson is far more productive on the stat sheet. And it's not like he can't be, because he has been in Pittsburgh. He helped guys like Bud Dupree and TJ Watt thrive and still found a way to have an impact on the stat sheet. And he's just not doing that. He's had one flash play in 8 weeks. It's not good enough. So on that note, we can't be too mean because they are doing a great job getting to the quarterback and harassing them, but there is still some room for improvement, and I would hope they would be near the top of the NFL given the amount of ridiculous money they're spending at the position. I'm going to go with the B, if that's alright with you boys. Linebackers. Pros, Nate Gary leads the Eagles in tackles with 57. Cons, Nate Gary leads the Eagles in tackles with 57. The entire linebacker group grade literally depends on one man, and he has been horrific. And it depends on one man because Jim Schwartz won't take him off the field, and I don't know why. He is abysmal, he is a human Beyblade, he's uncontrollable, and it is so volatile. He will either make a stunning play or make a flurry of abysmal ones and nothing happens. And he got injured, and he was down last week, and TJ Edwards came up, and he had a blistering game. He had like 13 tackles, I think, off the top of my head, leading the team. Alex Singleton was second. He got to the backfield a lot. Singleton has had a great year. It's got to be said. Like, I loved him when the Eagles poached him from the CFL. He has had such a great year. He's made the most of every opportunity. And at the end of the day, this linebacker group has no depth. It has no money invested into it. Camu's gone. Bradham's gone. Hicks has gone. These are all undrafted project guys. All special teamers on most teams who are playing their asses off, with the exception of Nate Gary, who does bring this grade down. But overall, C- or power button. I wish someone had turned Gary off, though. Let's just turn him off. Cornerback, good news. Eagles have fixed their CB1 problem. Amari Cooper, who had 130 yards against the Eagles across 2 games last year, had nothing against Darius Slay. Flatline, zilch, 0. Okay, brilliant news. Bad news is there's no other corners opposite him, so quarterbacks are just going that way. Like, if you can't go that way, you just go that way. And you've got Avonte Maddox as the only outside corner who's 5'9", and he's going to get bodied by bigger, more physical wideouts. And we've started to see that. And when he went down, you had Jalen Mills playing corner, which went as predictable as ever. You see Michael Jackett play cornerback a little bit, who flashed and then got injured. And there was a point when Nikel Roby-Coleman was outside. He looked bad, gave no hustle, and misses a bunch of tackles. He's also allowed 21 completions on 26 targets. The most bollocks signing I think I've seen in recent memory. It's something about number 31. It's something about it. But like, I don't know what Roby-Coleman's role is in Philadelphia other than to be a pain in the ass. Like, seriously, he's been a nightmare. And I remember breaking down the film, and there was nothing that stood out as, oh my god, this is a huge trait to have. And he was a PFF darling, and he calls himself the slot god. And the only thing he's going to be slotting in is going to be the job center queue when he's queued up there at the offseason going into free agency, because he's played his way out of Philadelphia. This is a terrible prove-it contract for him. It's not gone well. And overall, I'm going to give this group, once again, the power button, the C-, whichever way around it. C-, because I genuinely think Darius Slay is saving the group right now somehow, some way. But they need more from those corners. They need more investment. And finally, at safety, there's not much safe about it other than Rodney McLeod, who again, baller year, having a fantastic year in Philadelphia. He continues to exceed expectations and go under the radar as one of the team's most underrated players. Outside of that, Will Parks has missed most of the season and had a tumultuous debut, and then he kind of got better, had a big outing against Dallas, so that's good. Jalen Mills has been Jalen Mills and is just as infuriating as ever. Marcus Epps stepped up. Obviously, he's now got COVID, so best wishes to him and his family, and I hope everyone else in the organisation is okay. And Rudy Ford has stepped up a little bit, but is still a special teamer. There hasn't been much much push there. The Eagles haven't found a way to replace Malcolm Jenkins, which is what they wanted to do with that committee. I don't think they've done it. In my opinion, safety is still a whopping position of need, especially considering all of those players were prove-it deals. They're 1 and 2 year deals. Most of them are going to be gone in a couple of years outside of Kayvon Wallace, who's barely seeing the field. So there's a lot to do at safety, and overall, I see you. Let me know, guys, what you are grading this team through 8 weeks of the season. Drop your grades down in the comments section below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you soon.